PDES simulates some of the subtle differences of the human hearing system, allowing for an extra access of dimensional data in your game's audio, and more natural left-right information. Unity's default audio system simply includes panning to translate the audio source's left-right position, and does not give any indication as to whether the source is in front or behind the player. Crucial information in competitive three-dimensional games. PDES checks the distance from the sound source to each of the player's ears and applies a few milliseconds of delay based on the distance to each ear. These few milliseconds of delay trick the brain into thinking the audio is coming from a different direction, and when combined with the amplitude roll-off, which PDES calculates automatically, the player has a much better idea of where the audio is coming from, especially when combined with the Z-axis filtering included in the system, which reduces the high end of audio sources when they are behind the player, allowing for 2 dimensions of positional tracking where there was previously only one. The last feature included in this system is the distance tracking system, which reduces both the volume and the low end of audio sources based on their distance from the listener, better simulating what happens in the real world and defining a difference between the sound being close and quiet or being loud and far away. To implement the system, delete the audio source component of your intended sound source object, for example, this enemy soldier. Next, drag and drop the emitter prefab included in this package. This has 2 child objects which contain the audio sources which will play your sounds. Make sure the HRTF script has both audio sources set to the respective child objects of the emitter, and the left ear and right ear transforms to the respective ear markers on your listener. Also be sure that your audio sources have a low pass filter, a high pass filter, and an echo filter attached. Next, drag and drop the CanSeePlayer script onto the parent object for your intended sound source. Make sure you set the target transform to your main camera, or whichever object you have your listener attached to. Make sure the audio source components have the spatial blend control set to 2D and are panned left and right respectively, and have the correct clips loaded. You can freely manage the clips loaded in runtime using your own code without affecting the performance of this system. The audio will now have better positional tracking in-game. The player will have forward and backward positional information in their audio, and distant sounds will sound distant.
Eyes on target. Engaging. Eyes on target. Eyes on target. Engaging.